Okay.
You ready? For those that don't know me, my name's Nick Lawler. I've been in town for, I'm trying to think now, 14 years. Family, 3 kids. I work in Littleton at a combined light and water department. I've been working there for 20 years, just pushing 20 years. So I know the synergies that exist with both departments, the intangible benefits that don't seem quite obvious, but also the financial benefits of having 2 departments combined. I've been a water commissioner for 7 years. I originally got on because I was fed up with the department and fed up with the quality of water, so I wanted to get on the board and try to make a change. It's been a lot slower than I anticipated. It's just the way it is with water. There's not a lot of money there, and the infrastructure changes that need to take place are large projects that take a lot of planning and a lot of involvement from the employees. We've had a very hard time getting managers there. We're on it's our 4th manager and it's in the last 5 years. It's just a lack of leadership really in that industry. And I've struggled, and the board struggled, trying to provide a backbone and infrastructure and people there that can support the department and keep moving it forward. About a year and a half ago, we had what was our 3rd manager give his resignation after about maybe 3 months of work, which kind of opened my eyes. I didn't want to keep on doing the same thing and expecting different results. So I approached the board about a year and a half ago to combine the 2 departments under the established leadership of the light department, where they kind of have the opposite story, where they've had continued leadership there for a long time. Before, Dave's been there
6 years.
6 years. Before Dave was Wayne Snow, who was a 32-year man, and then before Wayne Snow was even a manager that stayed there for a long time, which is also a common trend in the electric industry. People tend to be good leaders and stay at their organizations for a long period of time. My original thought was, we can't keep on doing this madness where we keep on shuffling through managers. It's not good for the employees, it's not good for the customers, and it's not good for the department in whole. So let's piggyback on the leadership of the light department, but there's also financial savings there. And we anticipate about $250,000 a year in operational savings because you're not paying for 2 general managers. You're combining office staff. The operational folks, they have their own trades, so there's really no savings there. But you're not maintaining 2 buildings. We have 1 combined building. So we think there's probably about $250,000 savings there. And then there's also opportunities because we still own that land in the substation, so there could be opportunities for projects down the road to even get some more savings. So that was kind of the thought behind it. And I started pitching it, and it was hard. I mean, the water board at first didn't want to do it. They thought water was special. So I had to convince them, well, it's 2 utilities, and it's been done across the state. Like I said, in Littleton, we've been doing it for over 100 years. The town of Templeton has recently, probably about 10 years ago, combined departments. Hingham's looking at it now, so it's not just here in Georgetown that we have this struggle, and here in Georgetown we're trying to combine departments. So the water board voted 3-0 to support the merger over a year ago. I then went to the light board, and there was some questions there, and their questions were more geared upon, here we have this established department, do we really want this risk of bringing on a whole nother department? So we talked, and then I figured, all right, well, I know how to make change. I'll get on the board. So I've been on the light board now for a year. So that's why I got on. And then we had a lot of positive conversations as an electric board, and the vote there was 3-0 as well to support the merger after the whole board got to see the numbers and see the plan. We then started with the selectmen. We needed on the town meeting warrant, so we started our conversations there, but we really wanted the selectmen to support the article because they have such a big impact in the town, and we wanted them to be comfortable with this as well as our 2 boards, which we were able to do. I think I was probably at 6 to 8 selectmen's meetings, presenting to them and they had a lot of good questions and really made us do our homework to prepare them to be comfortable with the plan. And and they voted unanimously to support the merger. And the final piece, and this happened the same night that we had the information night, the Finance Committee, or the Finance Advisory Board, voted unanimously to support it because they saw the savings that we were presenting to them. I don't think there's too many opportunities that the Finance Board sees departments come in front of them that can show them a savings. Typically, they're seeing increases, and they struggle to kind of pick and choose which projects to support. So they were thrilled with us that we could show savings. So that's kind of the financial and organizational plan, but there's also a customer benefit as well. We're gonna have one single office, so one office to pay a bill, one office that will be educated to answer your questions, so you don't need to call two different departments, to get. You might have a lot of times, at least in Littleton, we'll see that one customer questions the electric company, but they get the same question with the water company as well. And instead of making 2 phone calls, you have one person to talk to. We hope to get to a monthly billing on the water side, so therefore you can kind of see, especially in the summertime, there's a lot of people that's bills because the irrigation go high, and then they're shocked after a 3-month bill what happened. So we can send better price signals, and they get to see what the usage is really costing them. And another issue on the water side is leaks. In the wintertime, a lot of people experience leaks because of the cold weather. If you have monthly bills, you'll see the problem a lot sooner, rather than waiting 3 months of a leak, which can cost thousands of dollars. So we believe that there'll be a positive customer impact as well as financial savings. I think that's it in a nutshell. I mean, to me, it's a very common sense type move, but I know everywhere I've been, there's been a lot of questions that come up out of any group that I've talked to. So I wanted to come in today and see what questions you have, but to answer them for you as best I could. May 6th is town meeting. It's very important whether you support this or not. It's very important that your vote gets heard, and that you come out to town meeting and raise your hand one way or the other. So I guess I'll open it up for questions.
Did I hear you say the water billing is going to be monthly, starting when?
I don't know when. So what would have to happen is all the meters would need to be, well, at least half the meters would need to be changed out.
Oh, okay.
So there's some labor that would have to go into it. Some customers already had the meters changed out over the years, and the other half it's already due to be changed out. We just haven't had time to get to it. And then once that happens, it would have to be integrated into the light department's meter reading system. I would guess a year and a half out would be my guess.
Oh, okay.
It would be a priority of ours.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Groveland is talking about water, light, and highway,
Yep.
and making it a Department of Public Works. Do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, we discussed that at both the light board and water board when we first started thinking about it. We weren't comfortable with that idea, but we did look into it. To us, you have an electric utility and a water utility that service ratepayers. There's a lot of synergies there. Where the highway department, you have they're working off tax dollars, and they're not really a utility. They do utility type of work, but they're not necessarily a utility. They don't service customers. Right. So that wasn't where our board wanted to go. Not that that's a bad idea, and maybe that's something that we go to. Just because we merge 2 utilities now doesn't mean 20 years from now you can't keep combining and seeing savings. I guess one thing I didn't really mention is our board's expertise. There's 5 of us total, 3 of which are professional engineers, 2 of which manage combined utilities, myself, light and water, and Pete Dion's gas and electric. Another individual works for a consulting firm, and another one was an ex-vice president of a bank. So you have 2 very educated, thoughtful boards that put this merger together.
As if a question, we right now pay the electric, comes taken out automatically, and in time to get the discount, which is nice. So when we're traveling, we don't have to worry about that. Will that eventually what you want to do with the water also?
So how's it done automatically?
We use Invoice Cloud.
Yeah.
We just have to see it. I'm thinking, you asked that before, I'm thinking that would be easy to do. I just don't know exactly when we can implement it. Billing systems are very similar. I checked, they're the same billing system. And that's one of the efficiencies is we'll be able to combine, and the licenses are thousands of dollars a year for users, and we could shed a couple of those probably. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking about the whole budget, but it adds up to quite a bit after a while. But I think that would be the idea, to get them so close to each other that it's a lot of the same exact functions happening, whether it be electric bill or water bill.
Okay, let's go, I just wanna make sure you're still thinking about that, because I think that would be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it would be best for us, best for you,
Okay.
yeah.
So
That is the right
you're
thing.
saying on the light side now, you have that option?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's taken out of the checking account.
So water department-
We get a bill in
Yeah.
Yeah.
advance, so you know what it is.
Get an email, I do it myself. It's
Because the water
wonderful.
department
Yeah.
has invoice cloud and has the same billing system, so I'm surprised if the light department, I mean, the water department should be able to do that now. So I'll follow up on that with,
It just makes it easier, especially because we do traveling, and so you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about taking the envelope with you or whatever, it gets automatically taken out, and you get a reading, you get something from them, so you know what it was that was taken out of your checking account.
yeah.
It just is very handy.
Did you ask the water about that? I'm just
No,
curious.
we haven't, this is the first time we
Yeah.
brought it up.
Yeah, okay, because, I mean, I would like that too, you know, if it was, you know, because I do the same thing with my electric bill.
Yeah.
And I, even though I can pay it in person every day when I go to work, I set it up, I get a nice email, I have email tracking, I can look at it, comes right out of my account.
Yeah.
So I understand how convenient that is for me.
Is there anything that you could do to help clear up the water? I've recently had drinking water here, and I get it from a Brita filter run from the tap. But it tastes like gasoline, sometimes it has a bad odor, like putrid smell, and you have to bathe and wash it. Is this gonna harm us in the future and then have trouble with people getting sued for not giving us good quality water? Is this equipment gonna help us, or is it gonna just try to save the pipes from getting corroded?
Yeah. So there's nothing harmful in the water. It's iron.
It's bad.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I mean, harmful.
Question.
Yeah.
Leave that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something our board's committed to. Whether the merger happens or not, the water board's committed to improving the water
Well, I
quality.
heard
Yeah.
it was safe, but it tastes like gasoline. I don't think that should be,
No, that's no.
that's not what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's
Yeah.
bad aesthetics and bad quality, but there's also a safety factor. And the safety, it's safe to drink. I'm not disagreeing with you that the water quality needs to improve. I agree 100% with that statement. And I think if you look over the last 5 years, the water quality has improved. We test, we know it has. It's not to where it needs to be. There's still more improvement that has to happen. You're starting to see projects get completed. With the storage tank along Hill is done. That's a project that we were given that land in the 70s for a water tank there, and in 2019 it went online. So that's just an example of some of the poor leadership that we've had there to follow through on these projects. We have an RFQ out right now, request for qualifications for the treatment plant to improve it. So the treatment plant works 90% of the time. The problem is the 10% of the time that it doesn't work, that bad quality impacts everyone's water. So we're looking at ways to get rid of that 10% of bad quality water getting out.
I've seen one of the water mains, well, not mains, but where they collect the water in the swamps up in Ballpate. And I know you must have real strong filters to resist all that pollution from the water, because you look at it and it's murky and it looks grayish black, and our water comes filtered, that filters it out that comes to us. So I would understand that the pipes would have to have
We don't pull from the swamps. We have ground wells, pulls from the aquifer that probably infiltrated from the swamp over time.
Okay, so I had mistaken it for, it looked, I thought that was the,
Yeah.
thing collects the water from.
But you're right. The groundwater that we start with is high in iron and manganese. That's why we need those plants. And we're going to continue to improve that. We have a water main project going on right now that's helping the town. So there's lots of projects that need to happen. And I don't want to leave this group with the impression that the water rates are going down, because to do these projects, the water rates will go up, but this merger mitigates against that. Will hold them back more than they would normally go.
While the water's good, using the chemicals and it's keeping the price down, it should be, I wouldn't see no problem at all.
But the board is, this water board's committed. We've been hearing for way too long that the water in this town isn't good. And we agree with you. We're committed to improving it.
But it's not.
It's just not something that
gonna
happen
kill
overnight.
someone. It's not gonna cause death or, probably if someone real old that couldn't help it, might have a chance of that.
I mean, our water is tested and submitted to the Mass DEP. Town's water, it's not just Georgetown, but every town in the Commonwealth, goes through more stringent testing measures than your bottled water does. So our water, though it might look worse, it might not taste as good, it's safer to drink than bottled water.
Okay, well, thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
I had a question about the Merrimack River. I've been here reading a lot about it lately. They've been having problems. Do we get a lot of our groundwater? Does that get seepage from the Merrimack River?
No.
Do we?
No, we're in the Parker River watershed,
Oh, okay, okay.
which, the Merrimack has a lot more quantity to it. The Parker River is usually gets pretty dry pretty quickly as if you.
And that's why we have the water ban,
Yep.
when that's drying out, right?
Yeah, so our withdrawal permit from the DEP has triggers in there that if the water flow on the Parker gets to a certain point, we have to institute watering bans. So that's where those come from. When we, as a water department, we would love to sell as much water as we can, that's where the revenue comes from. We don't want to do watering bans, although it is what's good for the environment. So
Right.
there is some reasons to do it.
What chemicals were added to the water that we drink?
We use chlorine to oxidize the iron and manganese out of the water to take it out from the filters. And we use potassium hydroxide as a pH adjustment so that it doesn't corrode your pipes. The pH is monitored. The pH to your house is the correct pH, so that way your pipes don't corrode. Back before the treatment plant, we didn't do that, and there was a pH problem in the town.
Okay, when we moved up here back in 2003, we moved up to the Little's Hill development, okay? We ended up having to put in over a $3,000 water filtration system with the additional, like it goes to the ice cubes and it went for just drinking water. The whole place was done, but then what have they got, reverse osmosis was done too. Almost 2 years ago, we moved to Parker River Landing, all right? Up at Little's Hill, we didn't have a problem because of the system we put in,
Right.
but we did. Other people, they had like a website and it would say, the toilet's brown or your clothes coming out brown, but our filtering worked. I didn't have that problem, okay? When we moved here, we thought we would be safe. We now spent over $4,000 on a water filtration system in the basement, and we're still getting the smell that is sickening. Not all the time, but there are times in the morning when you turn on the hot water or you turn on the water, it's like being behind a diesel car or like rotten eggs. It is terrible.
Have you called the department?
I haven't called the department, but we're gonna see if someone has told us, check to see, we might have to have the tank, because where we moved in, it was built 14 years ago. So we have to check about the water heater. Someone in our development, they said something about what inside the water heater, and we have found that it's mostly certain times, you can't figure out when or why, but in the morning, you put on hot water, if you try to, wash your hands, the water gets hot, the smell is terrible. And again, we have all kinds of filtration.
Yeah.
It tastes okay, but the smell is terrible,
Yeah,
so we don't know why.
I tasted that putrid smell just a few months ago, washing my hands here in the men's room, and it smells awful like something rotten, but.
Sulfur.
Oh, it's a sulfur
Yeah.
smell?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
How do you heat your water though? I mean, is it oil that you're heating it with, or is it natural gas?
We have natural gas.
Wow.
You know,
And you're
but
gonna-
it's just, it's not just us, and I've been told, because we've discussed it, that certain people, like our house happens to get it, and then some neighbors don't get it, and then other neighbors do. So we're trying to solve that, but where we are too, you probably know,
Yeah, so,
our water, the septic system there is.
so is it a sulfur smell?
I don't
Like
know.
rotten egg- like rotten eggs?
I know the smell, but I don't know
What
what to call it.
Does it smell like rotten eggs?
Truthfully, it smells like sewer.
Yeah, so that's sulfur. You should call the department. That's probably coming from your hot water heater. So when I told you I got on the board 7 years ago because of I was fed up with it, I had that problem. That was exactly why I got on the board, 'cause they wouldn't give me an answer.
Yeah, the color is fine, it's not rusty, it's
Yeah.
not like up at the hill.
Yeah, we haven't had those complaints in a long time, so I'm surprised that those
Well, it's a lot of
complaints.
discussion in our development.
Yeah, so there's things that, I wonder, have you flushed, because there's a spigot at the bottom of the heater, have you flushed up the heater?
I know a lot of that was done when we had this system put in.
Yeah,
In other words, when they came in and they put it in and they had to run it to the refrigerator and the spigot where the sink is. Drinking water is
yeah, but there's
is
a
purer than
spigot
bottled.
on the bottom of the hot water heater as well.
I don't know.
Yeah, so do me a
That's why
favor.
we're having a plumber come to see if we should change the water heater.
Yeah, I changed mine, the smell went away. I don't wanna tell you
So,
that
well,
you
one
have
of
to
our
change
neighbors
it.
have said that it might be something about piping in there or some, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
if you
know.
have a sulfur problem, or any quality problem, call the department and let them know. They should send somebody out there to at least investigate it and see what's going on.
Well, call them, like I said, it's not every morning.
Yeah.
It's not every day.
Yeah,
And trying to figure out,
I had the same problems, I know exactly, and it's maddening to deal with.
it's all, yeah,
I
the
agree
smell
with
is
you.
terrible.
Yeah,
Today I washed my hands and I didn't notice no odor either today.
yeah. So is yours mostly on hot water as well?
Well, Jefferson Housing has hot water heaters,
Yeah,
and the water treatment building is right behind my apartment.
Yeah.
I've talked to them before, like when we do our laundry, is it gonna affect the smell? But they said what you'd have to do is have a soft, I think soft filtration for it, and I think they said they already do have that for us, so I never had, my clothes smelled bad, so it was another way that was.
yeah.
But, you know, I was worried about it till I found out there was a filtration in it, so.
Yeah.
no
Well,
problem.
what I'll do is I'll leave here today, I'll call the manager of the department and let him know that there's some complaints and they might be hearing from individual residents. So if you wait till tomorrow to call, but you should be calling the department, they should be responding.
So can I ask you physically, you are on the water board,
Yep,
and Dave is the general manager of electric.
correct.
How would that work if the two combined? Would Dave be general manager of both?
Yeah, the light board has had a conversation with Dave and Dave is willing to take that challenge on and manage both departments.
Okay, and then would you have, who would help him? He can't do the whole thing.
Of course
Or
he
just the
can.
board?
Have you met Dave?
Well, I know, he probably could, knowing Dave. Wow.
No,
That's a good question.
yeah, I think Dave can do the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
In my original.
Sorry, Dave, I know you can.
My
No, it's
I was
a
just
great
wondering,
question. Yeah, we'd have to
seems like a lot
rethink
to-
the administration piece.
That's what I'm saying.
We just gotta, I have a very good staff.
Yeah,
The staff down at Water needs an advocate. They've had 4 general managers. Right now, they're being led by a collection of consultants. These folks, they work for us.
Right.
And they need solid, consistent management that's there for them.
right.
And that's, one of my top priorities if this thing moves forward, is to work with that staff and give them that type of leadership, what they need, what they deserve.
Right,
Another top priority is just what you said. We don't hear a lot about the cost of water, to be honest with you. I'm sure some people have a problem with it, but it's always what you're mentioning. And I've been here for 10 years, and I've lived in a couple of different places, and some places have been worse than others. Some places have been really bad. Everything you described, white clothes, yellow, everything. So water quality would be probably my top priority. Getting the staff and the organization together. I wish I had a magic wand, but I don't. It will take time. I'm confident that we can do it. You've seen our staff at work.
Right.
And we can do it. We just have to kind of move things around a little bit and get everybody understanding what their roles are.
Right.
And, you know, there's a collection between the two departments of very talented people. And
So you'd be able to draw.
I think we'll be able to do that. We're gonna bolster a little bit with some positions. We have a plan that carries some different organizational structure and still saves money through the efficiencies that we mentioned.
Yeah, so the selectmen asked that same question.
Yeah.
So like Dave said, that is a very good question.
Well, the electric company is, I think a lot of people feel that runs so well. It's such a great electric company. I might tell you that they came in, I rode again this week, and they were on Friday, and they were off because they don't work on Friday, and they were still there in a half an hour time. I
Yeah.
mean, they're great.
Yeah,
The electric company is awesome.
Great.
They are. And I guess what I'm saying is what you're saying is you're gonna have to concentrate now
So we,
on the water with the people that, like Nick,
right, so,
that know what.
the
yeah.
water department's gonna be awesome too.
Yeah.
That I promise you all.
Yeah,
so we were
That's
gonna,
happening.
the selectmen asked that question and they advised us and we put it in the financial plan. And so that $250,000 annual savings has us in there, a technical person for the water side to work with Dave.
right. I
So there's
see, yeah.
there is a
Okay,
full-time
that's-
staff position being added
Okay.
from
makes
that
sense.
industry to help Dave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think Dave could do it without
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he probably could. I didn't, Dave,
No,
I know you
that'll be
could.
wonderful.
If you run it like the electric company.
No, and the water company, very talented people down there, very
Right.
smart, hard-working people. They just need leadership, they need direction. Just think about yourself, if you had 4 or 5 bosses in a 6-year period,
Yeah,
I don't care how great those bosses were.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do things a little different, they have different expectations of you. It's not a breeding ground for great morale. And I'm not saying that they don't have great morale, but I think that we could really work towards something where it's less stress on them.
Yeah.
I think about them a lot now as this starts to get more serious, because the plant is the people. You know, it's not a collection of pipes and wires and poles. The plant's the people, and that's how everything gets done. You foster a environment where they, and this is where we are at the light plant, where they, you know, that's their plant. You're their ratepayers. They're very protective of keeping the lights on, keeping everything the way it should be. It bothers us. I mean, last year when we lost all 3 transmission lines from National Grid, there was nothing we could do but stand in the middle of the dark town. Believe me, it bothered us.
Right.
We were like caged animals. And we were working on the system, but there wasn't an electron to give you. I just didn't have one. And it took them 12 hours to get one line back, and we switched the whole circuit, the whole town around, and we delivered through that one line. But that's your staff at the electric light department, and I think that's your staff at the water department too. We're gonna get together and we're gonna work together towards these things. The water quality's going up. It just takes money. There's a lot of projects, and look, I'm not an expert yet. I have to be careful of my time, so I resist the temptation to involve myself too much until this thing's done and dusted. But it's starting to build momentum. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 boards, including the FinCom, that are all for this thing. So it's been vetted. And it's starting to build momentum, so I think this is the way it's gonna go. So I can't help but think, you know, what are you gonna do? Where's your first steps? And we're going to, you know, we're gonna get the organization together, and we're gonna get the water cleaner. It's just that it needs big projects. It needs, you know, millions of dollars, and we're gonna have to do that together. But I think that's what we want. I mean, that's what we're seeing in our polling. It's not money, it's water quality.
Yeah.
You know, any of us that have been here over 5 years, that's, you know, most of us are like, yes, please, better water, and that's what we're gonna get to. But it's not, as Nick had mentioned, this is not a Georgetown problem. The whole Northeast, everybody is having problems. The infrastructures are arriving at, you know, 100 years old now. We're the ones left standing when the music stops. Okay, 100 years ago, they had a new water system, and they probably paid for it, okay? We're here now to improve the water system for our kids and grandkids going forward. we're the ones that have to do it, unfortunately, but that's what we're tasked with. But we're gonna do it responsibly, efficiently, and make best use of all the dollars, the ratepayers' money.
Well, knowing you're gonna be in charge, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
You say that in the camera?
And Nick too.
And this young man here seems
Yeah,
wonderful. so-
you really, yeah, you're really impressive.
Okay, right now you got 2 3-man boards,
Yes.
and you're gonna,
Yep.
are you gonna have a
So,
6-man board?
no, it gets combined to 5.
Or you're gonna go down to 5?
Yep,
Electric
This-
boards?
yep.
Yeah, okay.
So what's gonna happen is the 3 electric commissioners stay on, and 2 out of the 3 water commissioners stay on. And they finish out their terms that they're already elected for, and then when their terms are up, they go for election again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, nobody's left out because I hold 2 of the seats. So there's 5 people holding 6 positions right now. So the current boards should stay the same, if you vote for me.
And I think you're right, I remember sitting at the front office at a Merrimack school, and they were talking about this, I said I could be sitting in Georgetown. They were talking about the water. And in Groveland, I know my daughter lives there, it seems like it's all these little towns, they're all, you know, it's the same problem, I think.
Yeah.
They're just old systems and,
Old system designed for a certain draw,
yeah,
and we've expanded.
yeah,
And, you know, you talk to the people who've been around town, and the dirt roads and
Right.
no street lights and the half the
Yeah.
population. You'd think
Sure.
this was, you know, New York City to some of those folks. And it's like 8,000 people, oh, I remember when it was 4.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the, you know, the infrastructure has to support that growth. And now we have some commercial growth coming too, which should really ease things for us, I'm hoping. I anticipate from what I'm seeing, some significant commercial growth on the other side of the highway. And that should be a good thing. So there'll be money coming into the town through rate dollars that should ease things on both the water and power, and certainly into the tax base too, to the good.
it's good, yeah.
So,
Sounds good.
How much water, all right, how much water are you pumping, right? How much are you allowed, and how much will the filter system, up on West Street filter?
So every drop of water goes through that filter system,
Okay,
and it can handle what we're allowed to withdraw. We have our permits up right now with the DEP. We're looking to withdraw more water because of the population increase in town. Not much more. We're right at just under 300 million gallons, which is consistent with other small towns. So, you know, at the peak, it's 1.2 million gallons a day. In the spring, it's probably, you know, in the winter, it's about 500,000. So there's a lot of summertime usage, a lot of irrigators, irrigating the lawns. But yeah, we pump pretty much right up to our withdrawal limit. We've never gone over it, we can't.
how much will it filter, that system, how much, because that system was built a lot of years ago.
The filter is handling what we're pumping. What ends up happening is you have to backwash more. So filters get clogged.
Yeah,
So 20 years ago, they're probably backwashing the filters twice a week. In the summertime, we're there every day backwashing those filters.
Wow.
So the filters can handle it, you just have to clean them more often.
I know, I've been up there filming the sludge pits in the back,
Yeah, the lagoons, yep.
yeah. People don't wanna see that.
It's naturally occurring materials, it's iron and manganese. Came out of the ground, it's going back into the ground.
Yeah,
It's actually good material, a lot of farmers will take that. Mix it in with topsoil.
market for it.
I'm getting off track a little bit. How does that irrigation work? Like when you have a water ban, how does that, people are still using those?
I'm sure there's plenty of violators out there.
Yeah.
Right now, there's only so much we can do to catch them. Now,
They're not supposed to water though. They're
well,
supposed to turn them off?
sometimes
Is it
there's days, right? So it might say,
Oh, yeah, right,
you can water
exactly.
on Tuesdays and Fridays, whatever it is.
Right.
But people water 4 times a week.
Yeah, I know, and that gets me, because we follow the rules, and then you drive down the street and,
So what I can tell you is that there's
See
new
green line.
metering technology.
yeah,
There's new metering technology that's coming out that we'll be able to tell when people are using
oh, okay, good,
it. So,
we'll catch them.
What about the people that have signs, you know, the big place at the top of Andover Hill and talking about, oh, we have private wells. Well,
Oh,
the
yeah.
water all comes from the same aquifer.
So
I mean,
yeah.
Isn't that kind of bogus?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
But we have no authority to, that's a Mass
Can
DEP
you cut
thing.
them, can you cut them off?
No, but we've notified
Their
them,
own-
we've notified Mass DEP. Because they don't have a permit with the Mass DEP because they're under 100,000 gallons a day, supposedly, which I don't know if that's true. So the Mass DEP has been made aware of that one customer that you speak of.
Somebody should try to jog their conscience, you know.
Are there a lot of people in town that have their own wells?
No, probably maybe a dozen or so.
That's all, huh? Groveland has a lot. I just learned that not too long ago.
Boxford is.
Well, Boxford's
almost
all-
I can
100%,
see,
I think,
it's
right?
Boxer, but
Yeah.
Groveland has a lot of their own wells.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're not as likely to vote for some of the changes that the people that have town water want. You know, Charlie must know about that too, but anyway, yeah, I was just curious how many we had in Georgetown.
Yeah, a dozen, there's 3,500 customers,
Yeah,
you know, it's a tiny percentage.
yeah, just curious.
Any more questions?
No, it sounds good.
Great, well, thanks for your time today and.
Thank you.
May 6th.
Thank you both for taking
Yeah,
the time to
absolutely.
come and
Thank you.
speak. And thank you, Charlie, for, yeah, no, thank you, Charlie, for, taping for others, but thank you both.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
So we should say that, again, our town meeting is scheduled,
Monday the 6th.
yeah,
Seven.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's on the website, the town website. Hope to see you all there.
Yeah.
Um,
And if people have more questions, I'm sure they,
Oh,
they
anytime,
can find
yeah.
you.
My
and,
phone,
yeah.
email, text, everything's open to you,
And
you
you have
know.
information on the website.
If, we do, yeah, and we update it as we think we
Perfect.
should, yeah.
Good, so there's lots of different ways to find out more information if we have more questions later.
Actually, legally knowing that it's safe.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Dave.
You're welcome.
It's really
You're
nice.
One
welcome.
other question, National Grid is soliciting to have
Oh, yeah.
the electric. We have National Grid for natural gas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they're trying to get us to switch, not trying, but they send stuff that you can switch over to National Grid, which,
For electric?
yes,
Wow.
which
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not inclined to do because their distribution adjustment is running 65 to 70 something bucks a month, a voluntary contribution for conservation.
Yeah, plus that March storm that Dave
Yeah.
talks about, they use a caged animal.
Yeah.
Drive over to Boxford when those storms hit, they're like that for a week.
Byfield too.
Oh, or
is like that.
wow.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
that's,
Yeah.
they can't
It's
take
true.
you as a customer, it's actually against the
Yeah.
law.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
we
there's
love the light department. You
Yeah,
guys
oh,
are
absolutely.
Yeah, and just, you know,
I think they mass markets, I think they send out,
it's like a cold mailing.
Yeah.
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 And they do it over the phone as well.
Yeah,
As
that's
soon as
cool.
you tell them
Yeah,
that you're a
yeah,
light
yeah,
department
yeah.
ratepayer, they usually hang up.
Yeah.
I've actually had them call me.
Yeah,
And,
that's
So-
department.
Yeah, they get cell phone, I don't know how they get it, but right now, you're sitting at about 5 or 6 cents a kilowatt hour, about 30% less than they are on their residential rate. It's a high residential rate for being out of power for days at a time
Yeah,
and all that type of stuff. We're nonprofit by design, but we put as much resources as we can into keeping the rates low, but above all, keeping the power on, because that's what people care about, and that's what they should care about. So that's why they're there like that.
they are there.
Yeah,
They're-
so-
we have a nephew in Boxford, and I have a friend in Byfield, and they are out for days.
They are.
Yeah.
So, well, we have our lights, I don't know. These guys are great.
And that's a system maintenance thing.
Right.
The
They're
linemen.
big.
Yeah, well, yeah, the linemen at National Grid are certainly capable. I actually have 2 ex-National Grid linemen working with it. They're fantastic.
Right.
But when they're working on a decrepit system that's falling apart and a 100-foot pine strikes it,
Oh.
it takes a long time for them to put it back together. where we have new poles, new wires, you know, we can get things back in a couple of hours usually.
Plus you guys doing a lot of maintenance, I noticed this last summer on trees.
Yeah, you're gonna see a
Oh, yeah.
lot of that now. We have 3 trucks from Mayor,
Yeah.
tree service, trimming out our lines. We take down dangerous trees. We do that several times a year. We have the whole system inspected for dangerous trees. And after the gypsy moth thing a couple of years ago, Peter Durkee and I together took down hundreds of trees. And it really showed up in this windy winter. We had very few call-outs. Can't get them all. There's one always sneaking there that comes down. But when you take down, you know, 200 trees, dead trees,
Yeah.
it helps because they were gonna come down in this wind. And I don't remember a windier winter since I've been here in 10
Yeah,
years.
it was.
I don't. It's, so it was a good time for us to do that maintenance. But the trucks you're gonna see on the road now, they are actually trimming the hole in the line so we don't have nuisance trips by the vegetation growing into these bundles of primary wire, which is bad for them anyway, even if you don't have an outage, just the stress of the ground potential wet leaves sitting on the insulation isn't good for the wires. That's why we do it. So
Plus National Grid is huge.
they're huge.
So that you don't get that little personal attention.
And they have.
Really,
they
that's
have-
how I look at it.
You're right, they have
Yeah.
stockholders.
They're huge.
Yeah. It's a different business model.
I just know from my friends that I have electricity, I don't know what your problem
I
is.
know.
I feel.
Well, funny, and I'll say one more thing, one of the big managers for the Department of Energy Resources, Massachusetts, lives in Andover. And, you know, when she was out for the 10th hour, she spoke at a meeting, I was told, because one of my consultants was there, and she talked about Georgetown, and she came up here to have dinner at Black Swan. And we had lights on,
Yeah.
and you know, she gave us kudos for that. And at a big meeting with a lot of heavy hitters from Massachusetts, so we were flattered by that.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Yeah, my husband hooked up a generator, and I said, why? Since we've been in Georgetown, we've probably lost our electricity a handful of times.
and you live on Parish Road.
Yeah, I know, the worst
which is-
road, all
which
those
is-
trees.
It isn't a windstorm if we haven't had a tree go down on Parish
I
Road.
know.
So,
It's true.
I don't know.
Well, thank you.
You know, you put in a generator, you never
We love
use
you.
it.
We never
That
use
happened to
it.
me.
We never use it.
That happened to me at my house. We just put one in at the light plant too, a backup, just so we're on.
Right.
Because when we lose everything, and I joke about that for the cost, they say we piped it with natural gas and everything. I said, we'll probably never use it, but it'll be there if we need
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So,
We're still fed by National Grid transmission lines, so
Yeah.
Yes.
we're not safe.
And that's what caused that big
That's what caused it,
march
yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah,
my hus-
we-
my husband explained that to me.
Right, Nick and I personally
Mm.
have visited their operations center in North Andover. And, you know, we push on them as much as we can. We do. And they're gonna be trimming out those right-of-ways this year. They've sent a letter into conservation to notify them, which they're obligated to do. And they've CC'd me on that letter, so if anybody lives on the right-of-ways or near them, you'll see them out there trimming, which is a good thing for us. Because like Nick said, when those go down, there's nothing I can do for you, except get on the phone with them and, you know.
Yeah, they informed us that we got lucky when that March, 2 Marches ago, that storm. The tree that fell down was 3,000 feet into the right-of-way through the swamp. And they got access to a farmer's property. So they didn't have that access.
Oh, my goodness.
They would have put swamp mats down. It was gonna be a 3-day outage.
Mm.
So Dave could have his system all up and ready to go and without that
Exactly.
tree
You
being
live in
cleared.
Georgetown.
What's
You
that?
live in Georgetown.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Does anybody have any other questions? Thank you for coming out to listen to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.